Hello, crafty friends. This is Anya General with Ink, Paper, Scissors. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about scene cards. I'll be showing you 3 different ways I approach creating scene cards. The first technique will be very straightforward, but the second and third techniques will hopefully give you some new ideas and inspiration that make even more sense once you see them in action. I'll also be sharing the new September Hero Studio kit. Aside from the kit, which is loaded with fun goodies this month, I also have the layering stencil of the month and the die set of the month. The kit comes with this adorable fall stamp set and coordinating dies. It also includes a separate die set of a tree along with some engraving options for the tree. And then you also receive several pieces of fall-colored cardstock and enamel dots. I really love the fall vibe in this kit and think the mix of elements provided is fantastic for creating cards that feel warm and seasonal. Before we get started with today's techniques, I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow and allows me to continue bringing you new card-making ideas every week. My goal for this year is to reach 10,000 subscribers, and every single one of you who subscribes gets me one step closer to reaching that goal. I've also linked all the products I'm using below the video and in my visual supply list. If you don't see something in the YouTube description, please check the visual supply list link, as YouTube has a character limit in the description. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and watch me put these scene cards together. The first technique I want to share is creating a full card scene. When I build a scene, I usually start with a simple background and then add in details to fill it out. That way, I already have a foundation to work with, and it makes the rest of the card come together so much easier. For today's card, I'm starting with this month's layering stencil set to create my background. Off camera, I sprayed a little pixie spray onto the back of my stencil so it would hold in place while I worked. For the first layer, I'm filling in all the branches using Espresso ink by Altenew with my Gina blending brush. Once that's complete, I move on to the second stencil. Here, I'm just using the leftover green that's still on my brush to get a nice, soft base layer, and then I deepen the bottom of the trees with olive ink to give a little more dimension. For the third stencil, I bring in melted butterscotch ink, blending it heavier toward the base of the trees and lighter toward the top for a natural gradient. And for the final stencil, I finish with heartbeat ink. I really love how rich and layered this turned out. It gives the background so much life. I'm going to set this panel aside for now and move on to creating another scene before I bring everything together. When I create a scene completely from scratch, I like to keep things simple at first. I usually decide whether it's going to be a daytime or nighttime scene, and then I plan around that. For this one, I wanted an evening look. I start by placing a small circle mask I made earlier for the moon, again securing it with pixie spray. Then, using my Gina K blending brushes, I blend Altenew Persian blue ink around the panel. Closest to the moon, I softly add deep iris ink, and then for the rest of the sky, I use Sapphire ink, keeping the edges really dark and letting the color fade lighter toward the center. Once the sky is complete, I peel back my mask and add a few moon details with Morning Frost ink. It's a subtle touch, but it really makes the moon look more realistic. With my background set, it's time for the fun part: die cutting and assembling the little critters and elements to build out the full scene. For this card, I used the tree dye from the kit, layering it over my blended background so the moon glows behind it. I added a little bunny peeking out from the tree, tucked in some mushrooms, and strung a colorful banner of fall leaves across the top. To finish it off, I added a fence and some acorns. I will add a sentiment from the kit later. The end result feels cozy and playful, and it really shows how the background scene helps tie everything together. For my second technique, I decided to create a much smaller scene. This is something I often do when a full card scene feels a little overwhelming. It's a great way to still capture the look without committing to the entire panel. I repeated the same ink blending technique from the first card, but this time I kept the colors a bit lighter to give it a softer feel. Once the blending was finished, I used one of the Hero Arts Nesting Postage Infinity dies to cut out a portion of the moon scene. From there, I started building a mini vignette with my stamped and colored images. I added a little tree stump topped with a mug, a few acorns, a mushroom, and of course, the adorable squirrel holding his prized acorn. It really creates a cozy, inviting feel. For the card background, I wanted some added interest without taking away from the focal point. I used the Hero Arts Etched Winter Swirls background stamp and stamped it in Catherine Pooler's Pebble ink. The soft gray design adds beautiful texture while keeping the focus on the main scene. I finished everything off with a clean and simple sentiment that ties it all together. I am stamping 2 background stamps on my card fronts to add extra interest. The first one is called the Meadow Floor Background Stamp by Hero Arts, and I am stamping it with Bamboo ink by Altenew. The next one is the Hero Arts Starlight Star Bright background stamp. I am stamping this one with Starlight ink by Altenew. For the third technique, I'm keeping things very simple and focusing on just the characters and stamped images to build my scene. Instead of creating a large blended background, I let the images themselves tell the story. I started by stamping, coloring, and die cutting several of the critters and accessories from the kit. Then I arranged them into a little scene on the card front. This approach is perfect if you don't feel like doing a lot of background work but still want your card to feel fun and full of life. By layering the images and popping a few up with foam tape, I was able to create depth and interest without needing any extra ink blending. It's a quick and easy way to make a complete card, and it really lets the characters shine. Once my card fronts are ready, I start assembling my little scenes. I will let you enjoy the assembly of the little scenes, and I'll be back to wrap up the video. The background of the card base is kept light with just a bit of tone-on-tone stamping, so the focus stays on the scene itself. I finished it off with a simple sentiment, "Fall is my favorite color," which ties the whole design together. That finishes up today's video where I shared 3 different ways to create scenes on your cards. I hope this gave you some new ideas to try out in your own card making. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future tutorials. I'd love to hear from you. Do you prefer creating full backgrounds for your scenes, or do you like keeping it simple with just the stamped images and characters? Let me know down in the comments. I always enjoy reading your answers. And if you'd like to share the cards you're making, come join my Facebook group. I will link it in the video description for you. I'm striving to build a fun, supportive place where we inspire each other and share card ideas and techniques. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy crafting!